Want your game reviewed or just want to talk about Overwatch or anything in general? Feel free to send me a message on Discord by joining my server. Link is in the description. Aiming in FPS games, including Overwatch, is a core fundamental that is needed in order to get better at the game. You can have the best tactics, the best strategies, and the best movement, but if you aren't able to aim and actually kill anybody, then you're useless. Now, of course there are roles like support and characters like Reinhardt or Winston that don't require precise aim, but unless you're looking to only play those types of characters that don't require strong aim, then being good at aiming is a fundamental that is necessary in order to drastically improve your play. So in this video, we're going to be going over the basics of how to improve your aim. One thing I would like to mention before we get started is to have a proper setup, that being a large mouse pad and a mouse that fits your hand and possibly has adjustable DPI. If you want to know more information as to why these things may be important, I'll be making a video in the near future explaining why. So with that out of the way, let's hop into game and get started. So the first thing we're going to go over is your sensitivity. Sensitivity is a frequently talked about topic and people seem to be somewhat confused on what sensitivity is the best. And just to make the discussion short, there is no best sensitivity. Sensitivity is a personal thing and it's something that you'll need to test and discover yourself to see which one suits you best. Some people will say just use whatever is comfortable, but for me, at least from my experience, that wasn't the case. If I had just followed that, I'd still be playing at a fairly higher sensitivity compared to what I'm using now. Generally, having a sensitivity on the lower end of the spectrum is better due to being able to be more consistent, steady, and precise. Smaller adjustments are a lot easier to make compared to higher sensitivities. At higher sensitivities, small mouse movements lead to bigger crosshair movements, which makes it harder to control. I'm not saying it's impossible to be consistent, steady, and precise at higher sensitivities, but it's definitely more difficult from my experience. One thing to note is that since Overwatch is a fast-paced game, turning around your character is also a thing that you need to take into consideration. Having too low sensitivity will mean that you'll have trouble turning around, and having too high of a sensitivity will generally lead to loss of precision. It's about trying to find a low enough sensitivity at which you can be accurate as well as a high enough sensitivity so that you're able to turn around. A drill you'll find people use is to strafe back and forth while attempting to keep your crosshair on the robot's head. This is a pretty decent way to figure out what your rough sensitivity should be. Now, when you're doing this, it's going to feel a little odd and slow, especially if you're used to higher sensitivity, and that's okay. The reason for this is just because you're not used to it. You should find though that making smaller movements is a lot easier and steady compared to having a higher sensitivity. Something to note is that you may end up tensing your arm a little bit, which is okay because you're not used to the sensitivity. I find it better for me to relax my arm, as tensing up my arm makes it difficult for me to make smaller adjustments with my crosshair. So now we're just going to move on to some basic exercises. These exercises are designed to help you get used to your sensitivity and build a foundation for muscle memory. For the first exercise, we're just going to be standing still and shooting the robots' heads. This is a very simple drill, which is just to help you get used to your mouse sensitivity and build a small bit of muscle memory. This is a good starting point, especially for those who are lowering their mouse sensitivities by a fair amount, since they'll need to build a whole new set of muscle memory. As you get more and more accustomed to the sensitivity, you can go faster and faster, but you don't want to be giving up accuracy for speed. The whole point of this is to help you memorize the distance at which you need to move your mouse in order to put the crosshair on the robot's head. You're going to want to do this at different distances and angles. Starting off slow is recommended if you're having trouble putting the crosshair on the robot's head. You can do this for a couple of minutes, say 5 to 10 minutes, and if you start to get tired, then you can take a break. I would recommend getting accustomed to doing this before we move on to the next drill. The second exercise is fairly similar to the first one. The only difference is that we're going to be strafing left and right while we're shooting. The reason we're doing this is because generally in Overwatch, people are always moving in order to constantly reposition themselves as well as make themselves harder to hit. I would suggest maybe doing this for 5 to 10 minutes, but you want to get accustomed to your sensitivity and be able to do this comfortably. The third drill is going to be the same as the first one, except now we're going to be moving to the moving robots. So all we're going to be doing is standing still shooting these robots here. Like I said, players are going to be moving around, so we're going to be using the moving robots in order to simulate that. Again, you're going to be wanting to do this from different distances, angles, and positions. Doing this for 5 to 10 minutes should be suitable, but just like the other drills, you want to do this until you feel comfortable. So guess what? The fourth drill is going to be the same as the second one, but not only are the robots moving, but you're going to be moving too. This is to simulate movement while you're in a battle with an opponent. You're going to want to do this for about 5 to 10 minutes, but as usual, you're going to be wanting to do this until you get comfortable. So now we're just going to be combining all the exercises together. That being shooting the heads of the stationary robots as well as the moving ones, and standing still while shooting the heads of the robots as well as moving. While you're doing these exercises, you're going to want to make sure to take your time when doing these, as you don't want to build poor muscle memory. The whole point of this is so that you can build a foundation of muscle memory and train yourself to hit shots with precision. Increasing your speed is something that will come after being able to comfortably make these shots slowly. So don't worry if you don't have any FPS experience and need to go slow. There isn't an issue with doing so. Going slow and slowly increasing your speed as you get more comfortable comfortable will prevent you from building bad habits. And you may see higher level players making these quick flicks and fast shots, and they're able to do so because of all the experience that they've had. During this process, you should really concentrate and be honest with yourself. Perhaps you need to lower your sensitivity a little bit more, or perhaps still go a little bit slow in order to get more comfortable with the way that your new sensitivity is. Now, when you're going over these exercises, you may find your arm getting a little bit tired if you're not used to it, so I would suggest that you take a break, and then you can come back to it again when you aren't tired so that you don't end up building bad habits. So that just about does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, so if you did, then feel free to leave a like, or don't. If you have any suggestions or drills that you used to go through when you were first learning how to aim, leave them down in the comments. Also, some of you suggested I make a Patreon, so now I got one. If you'd like to further support me beyond from just joining my Discord or watching these videos, then head to my Patreon page. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.